Hello friends, today's topic is Imperialism is dead. Long live imperialism. My lesson plan includes why it is in the news, what is imperialism, what is difference between imperialism and colonialism, what is neo-imperialism, how can the developing countries like India get rid of neo-imperialism, and finally conclusion. Friends, as you know that the new world order arose out of the ashes of the Second World War, which ended in 1945. There were four ingredients of the new world order. These were free trade among different countries of the world, enforced by GATT, I mean General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Later on, it was replaced by WTO, World Trade Organization, in 1995. Free trade had a caveat of giving concession to developing countries because goods and services produced by developing countries could not compete with that of developed countries. The second pillar of the new world order was financial institutions like World Bank, International Monetary Fund, I mean IMF, and International Development Association. These financial institutions were created to give financial stability to the developing countries of the world. The third pillar was collective security enforced by the UN in place of balance of power as the governing principles in international affairs before the Second World War. And the fourth pillar was self-determination. But the US President Trump is bent upon bulldozing this new world order created after the Second World War. He pulled the US out of the Paris Agreement on climate change and World Health Organization. He agreed to shut down the US Agency for International Development, I mean USAID. He ordered reciprocal tariffs in international trade, thereby completely reversing the principle of free trade initiated by GATT and later on by WTO. Moreover, he is bent upon pursuing the nationalist foreign policy, whereby he has virtually withdrawn from the security given to European Union and NATO. Moreover, the Russian and American officials started negotiating as to how the Russia and Ukraine war can end without taking Ukraine into confidence. Thus, NATO and European Union has to reappraise its relation with the US and Russia in coming years. The President Trump declared that he wants to annex Greenland, Panama, and to make Canada as 51st state of the US. He also wants to grab Gaza Strip. He slapped 25% tariffs on Canadian as well as on Mexican goods and services, and additional 10% custom duties on Chinese goods and services. If these ventures of the US President were to materialize in the near future, it would herald a new world order in coming years. Friends, now what is imperialism? Imperialism is a state policy or practice of power and dominion over other less developed economies. It involves either direct territorial acquisition or through indirect economic, political and cultural control over other areas or countries. Friends, in olden days, the imperialism also existed in the empires of Assyria, Persian, Greeks or Romans. But there is one difference between the old imperialism and new imperialism, which was carried after 15th century. While under old imperialism, territories were acquired directly by the imperialist power. Under new imperialism, Territories could be directly acquired or could be managed indirectly through economic, political, and cultural domination. It involved creating economic dependencies through trade, investment, and global market. It also involved cultural imperialism, whereby the imperialist power spread their cultural influence through media, education, and culture over other countries in order to bring homogenization, thereby destroying local social fabric and culture. The main motivations behind imperialism were economic, ideological, political, security, and cultural. Friends, as you know that after the Industrial Revolution, developed countries wanted raw materials for their industries and global market for their manufactured goods, and that's why they acquired territory directly or they influence politically or economically. For example, Britain captured India and ruled over this country for 200 years. The economy of India was merged with the mother country, Britain. So India's economy would subserve the needs of British economy. But in Chinese case, although British did not acquire Chinese territory directly, but after Opium War, it controlled the Chinese trade and commerce through different kinds of concessions, and thus it was able to influence politically as well as economically over China. Imperialism was also sought on the basis of ideology, and this ideology was white man's burden, and so the protagonists of imperialism were of the view that it was the God-sent opportunity for them to civilize those countries or areas which are very much backward economically as well as culturally. Friends, imperialism was also resorted to enhance the prestige, power, and political mileage on the world stage. Imperialism was also perpetuated to safeguard line of communication, strategic advantages, and to establish buffer states. For example, the Britishers kept Aden under their control to have direct communication of trade and commerce from India to Mediterranean Sea. Friends, what is difference between imperialism and colonialism? Colonialism is a part of imperialism. Colonialism means to have direct control over the acquired territories. It involves migration, cultural assimilation, and long-term governance. For example, as I have already said you, that Britain controlled India directly for 200 years. Similarly, Netherlands controlled over Indonesia. Portugal had direct control over Brazil. Spain had direct control over Mexico and Argentina. Later on, Japan captured most of the territory of Southeast Asian countries. Russia also expanded its boundaries by capturing Central Asia. Germany and Italy both adopted imperialistic principles by capturing portions in Africa. So imperialism is a broad concept which includes domination over other countries directly or indirectly. Imperialism can be implemented without having direct control over colonies. Imperialist power can exert political as well as economic influence without having direct control over it. For example, the US intervened militarily in Iraq and overthrew the regime of Saddam Hussein. Similarly, the US is very much influencing politically Latin American countries. It has interfered or adopted the policy of intervention in various countries of Latin America and Middle East. So imperialism doesn't always involve direct control over a particular territory, but focuses on political, economic and cultural influence as well as exploitation of resources of a particular country or particular areas. So imperialism stands for exploitation of the resources of developing countries through controlling trade, investment and global market. World Bank and other international financial institutions like IMF, IDA also help imperialist powers to give benefit to them economically. And whenever these international financial institutions provide loans to developing countries, they attach a strings of conditions which are always beneficial to the developed countries. Friends, now I switch over to the point as to how developing countries can get rid of neo-imperialism. These are diversification of economies. Developing countries should reduce their dependence on exporting raw materials to developed countries. Instead, they should focus upon producing goods and services which are highly valued in the international market. They should invest in manufacturing and innovation in technology. Secondly, there is need to promote local industries. Objectives should be vocal for local, and efforts should be made for import substitution and increasing exports of goods and services in the international market, so that there should be lesser gap between import and exports. Developing countries like India should focus upon strengthening regional cooperation. For example, India should stress upon making regional groupings like ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or European Union, or South African Development Community. The regional cooperation would lead to free flow of goods and services among countries, and thus there will be lesser dependent of these developing countries upon developed countries. Encourage international trade in local currencies, as India has done to purchase Russian oil in local currencies. Thus, de-dollarization would reduce the dependence of developing countries upon the US. Developing countries also should focus upon enhancing governance and institution, improving infrastructure, healthcare, skilling and education, and efforts should be made to curb corruption in public life, so that more and more foreign direct investments are attracted to developing countries. Asian tigers like South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong have mitigated the impact or influence of imperialist powers like the US and China by increasing export-led growth. It focused upon industrialization by taking advantage of cheap and skilled labor. They maintained high rate of savings and investments, and these investments further led to the modernization of industries, which in turn led to the value additions in their exports of goods and services to the foreign countries. Thus, regional groupings like ASEAN or European Union or South African Development Community have achieved economic stability, reducing reliance on external powers like the US or China. Friends, now I conclude. Multipolar instead of the unipolar world is a strong safeguard to combat the danger of neo-imperialism. The US reciprocal trade policy, its manipulation of dollars, the threat to annex Greenland, Canada or Panama or even Gaza Strip aims at tearing asunder the new economic world order established after the Second World War. And so it is only through pursuing the policy of regional cooperation, free trade agreement among countries by developing countries, de-dollarization can boost developing countries and can make less dependent upon the US economy. So developing countries like India should focus upon substitution of imports and promotion of exports should be more stress upon vocal for local. These methods can make India and other developing countries of the world to become less dependent upon the US or China and other external powers. So friends, now I conclude my lecture. If you like my video, please share and subscribe and give your comments. I will always appreciate your feedback. Thank you very much.